Hey everybody, just me today. Alexis is sleeping, so I think I'm gonna get through this the first time. It's gonna be amazing. And if not, oh well. Today I want to share my thoughts on alcohol abuse. And I want to again have this disclaimer that alcohol abuse does not mean drinking to excess every day of the week. I mean, it can, but it can also be like choosing to have a beer because you're stressed every time you come home from work, right? I think that can be termed as abuse because what you're doing is you're using the alcohol for to really avoid dealing with something, right? It's the same way with caffeine. Like people don't go to bed on time or they live two stressful lives, but then they just mask it by drinking 5 cups of coffee in the morning and then they can't sleep and then they need more coffee, right? So it's essentially like when I talk about alcohol abuse, I just talk about using alcohol to avoid something or using it for something other than like just enjoying the drink and feeling different, right? So wanted to just kind of lay that out there first. And then secondly, I see addictions or alcohol abuse, whatever you want to call it, a symptom of a larger problem. Yes, if you lose your job because you're drunk every day, that's a problem, right? But alcohol is not the problem. It causes problems, but it's not the problem, right? If you think about the whole iceberg example, like, this is an iceberg and this is the water, like, it just looks like alcohol is a problem, but in reality, there's so much more underneath it. And sometimes it's complex and sometimes it's simpler, but it's a symptom of a larger problem. And one of the commonalities that I see with people across the board, and I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but a super high percentage, is difficulties in communication. So the way I describe communication is that it's on a continuum, and in the middle is this balance point of assertiveness. On one end is passive communication, on the other end is aggressive communication. And like the closer you are to the middle, the less passive you are, the farther out, the more passive you are. Passive communicators believe, what's the point in saying something? It's not going to matter anyway. My voice isn't going to be heard. My needs won't get met. Aggressive communicators, on the other hand, have this underlying belief that my needs are only going to get met unless I am forceful about it. Assertive communicators, which is that balance point in the middle, believe that I can get my needs met, and we can both get our needs met, or we can all get our needs met depending on the situation. Like we'll find a way to compromise. We'll figure it out. And so really, when we look at this continuum, I see this connection with people that are using alcohol and then they're passive communicators. Okay, so what's happening is that in a situation, like a certain situation, recent or past experience, they don't feel like they can speak or share their truth, whatever that may be. And so instead, they shut down and they don't say anything. But that never works because we need to express ourselves. We need to say anything. We need to say these things. So we're shutting down, we're not saying something. And then what happens is people use alcohol to let's say what we're not saying is in our throat. Literally that alcohol pushes it down and it suppresses and suppresses and suppresses and suppresses. So really, one way to help yourself if you feel like you're struggling with alcohol abuse is go like, all right, where either now am I not speaking my truth, sharing my truth? And really when I say like speaking, sharing your truth, that's literally your truth, like whatever that means for you. Somebody else might disagree, but that's fine. That's not their experience. You're just sharing your experience. So where am I not doing that right now? Likely in a relationship, but it could be work too, right? Like somebody goes to work and they trying to find an example. I was gonna say they want to work from home 2 days a week and the boss is like, no, but now that's not a situation. But let's pretend people don't work from home right now. I want to work from home 2 days a week because the 2-hour commute is killing me. And the boss is like, no, right? They feel like they can't do anything about it. So And instead of being able to remedy the situation, release it, they just drink to push it down. Except then the drinking causes more problems, and then that which is pushed down still exists. It's still there, right? So look at where in your life you haven't been communicating, either now or if this has been an issue for you in the past. And that could be like a super traumatic event that you never talked to anybody about, or you never processed. And see where you can start to express yourself and start to communicate, start to give whatever that is that you've pushed down, give that a voice. If you're not in a space where you're comfortable sharing, like let's say somebody sexually assaulted you, right? Like often you're not going to be able to go to that person, or some people don't even want to talk to anybody if they've never talked about it. But you can journal, or you can express through art. You can express even like running. I mean, I went running once like 2 weeks ago. Haven't been since, but even running is a great way to get that energy out, to give yourself a voice, because the more you push it down, the more you try to tell yourself it doesn't exist within you, and that's not true, right? Then you're reinforcing the denial. So I'll stop there. I could talk and talk and talk, but again, if you're finding that you're using alcohol, abusing alcohol in this way, 9 times out of 10 when it becomes a problem, it's because there's this communication issue that you're suppressing emotions, something, and you need to work to give that a voice. So you don't need to use alcohol to push it down, because you're allowing it to come out and giving yourself a voice.